Yo, 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 what's going on? This is the NRW Nerds. Rule the world. It's your boy, Kuya and I'm here with the one, the only Heather Hurt from New Release Wednesday. And of course, we've been getting down all season talking about Disney Plus's She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. And if you've been missing out, you've been missing out. I'm just sorry. Or if you've been talking shit without having even seen it, you got problems. But we love the show, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to gush about it with this new episode number 6. And of course, 5. Heather, as always, will break down the story. Oh, episode 5. I'm sorry. We were just talking about episode 6 just a second ago, so I apologize. We're going to talk about episode 5, which is called Mean Green and Straight Poured Into These Jeans. Heather's going to break down the story. I'm going to talk about the cast in this, and then we'll give you our review. You ready to get down, Heather?
Absolutely.
Let's go.
All right. So, of course, at the end of episode 4, and by the way, we are super excited. This is our first episode that we got to watch with all of y'all. So this was really exciting. So at the end of episode 4, we received, Jen and I were hanging out in her apartment, and Jen received a summons for a court hearing because Titania had copyrighted the name She-Hulk. And this is where we kind of see what happens. Once again, this is supposed to be a procedural, so we are supposed to see what happens in the courtroom. Jen and her bestest ever, Nikki, head down to the new beauty line, let's call it that, new beauty line of Titania, where she has copyrighted She-Hulk as a new literal snake oil makeup line. And it's they're completely unsurprised, and she is and Titania is just totally living up the fact that she is wearing someone else's name. And that leads us to the courtroom where Jen has to show up as She-Hulk. She needs to fight for her own name, and she needs to prove that it is the name that she took. Got a little bit heavy in the dating life to get to that point. The other thing that she has to do throughout this time is she gets called out for her lack of good fashion. We meet a fashion designer to all the superheroes, and we'll talk about that ending with that at the end of this review. So I'll hand it back over to Kuya P.
All right. Yes, another amazing episode. Our first new one for Heather and I both, because we did have the luxury of seeing the first 4. So really excited to dive into a brand new episode. And as y'all know, and if you've been watching with previous episode, I wanted more Jamil Titania. And that was the cliffhanger essentially at the end of the last episode. And 5 delivered that to a degree. I still say I want more Jamil. I want more Titania. We had a good bit of that. There were some really good lines that we got out of Jamila Titania in this. So we got some really cool scenes. But again, I love her from The Good Place, y'all. And if you haven't seen Jamila in The Good Place, go check it out. She's amazing there, but she's also amazing in this. But she's got I want more. I want more Titania in that relationship against Tatiana's Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk. So we got more of that. But again, I'm dying for more. And as always, returning our She-Hulk, Tatiana Maslany and Nikki Ramos, Ginger Gonzaga. Fabulous in this. We got to see more interaction with them. And so another classic episode. Returning as well, and we got to see some relationship stuff with Nikki Ramos's character with Augustus Pug Puglisi. So shout out to Josh Segarra, who plays Pug. There was some cool interaction with Nikki and Pug in the elevator scene in this episode, and them coming together talking about drip. I could really relate with Josh Segarra in that, because they wanted to get those new Iron Man 8.1s or whatever it was that was hitting the streets. So Josh talked about his drip broker. So that was some cool interaction. I really loved how Ginger and Josh got to play off of each other. There was some cool, beyond just the scripts, where just the way they're carrying themselves, I could really relate with, and I just really vibed off of them. Like I could hang with Ginger and Josh like in person, and I got to see that on the screen. It was really cute and adorable. Some good sequences there. Renee Elise Goldsberry, that we love from Hamilton, plays Mallory Book, and was Jennifer Walters' attorney for this because, for legal reasons, right, Heather?
Absolutely. You can't represent yourself. It's bad. It's bad.
Really well done. And I was talking, I think last episode when she was going to play more into the cast, and we got that in this episode, and a little bit of a friendship maybe at the end without spoiling too much. We'll talk about that with the review. But I really liked that, them kind of coming into themselves in this episode. But shout out to Renee Elise Goldsberry playing Mallory Book. Some other shout outs, Cousin Ched, played by Nicholas Cirillo, back again in this episode. He was getting everything She-Hulk because he thought, Jennifer had the copyright going down, but apparently she didn't, and he wanted to capitalize. But what can we say? She didn't have the IP down, but that is what this whole episode is about. Shout out to Nicholas Cirillo getting a little bit more camera time in this. We have Todd, played by John Bass, who had like a nice little scene there. David Otunga, who I love from WWE, also former football player. He had a little bit of sequence in there. Derek is back. Also Arthur, played by Michelle Curiel, back the one night stand that Jennifer had back there. But I think we'll see a little bit more of Derek there because he was kind of trying to holla at Titania at the end there. So some stuff happening there. But a big standout to kind of close out this cast in this particular episode, Luke Jacobson, our drip designer, who we're going to see more because we kind of didn't see her in the attire yet. But I was curious where I saw that actor before. Really outstanding job. Griffin Matthews. I want to see more of Griffin Matthews. Really well done as our drip designer. And when I was looking at Griffin's IMDb, we've seen Griffin in The Flight Attendant, which I'm a fan of. If you haven't seen Flight Attendant on HBO Max, I love that show with Kaylee Cuoco. He plays Shane Evans, who is one of the other flight attendants with Kaylee Cuoco. So I knew I had seen him before. Great in that show. We've also seen Griffin in Weeds, Kashmir Mafia as well. But yeah, I think a great addition to the cast. I hope we see more because, She-Hulk, she's a Hulk. She's going to mess up her clothes. She's going to need new drip. We need that relationship. And I loved how Ginger is played into that to make sure, she's set up right. And Renee even said it as well. Mallory Book's character played by Renee, you got to look right. You can't just be wearing these football uniforms all the time or these football tuxedos. But great cast, great episode. Let's get into it, Heather. I love this additions to the cast and really well done, man. They know what they are doing at She-Hulk Attorney at Law. What do you think of this episode, Heather?
I honestly think it was one of the lesser of the episodes just because it feels like a very A to B episode. Like we had to introduce some characters. We had to get to a point. So I'm not going to say it was a bad one at all. I think that weakness is not something that really shows in this series, but I think it was just a lesser compared to episodes 3 and 4, especially. It was still a lot of fun. I'm really excited for Mallory for reasons that we will talk of in just a couple minutes. It was exciting to see once again that human point when she's in the courtroom and she gets to hear all of these just mediocre men tell her about how she is a mediocre person, and you just get it. There was some great friendships brewing, some really great relationships that you want to see more of. But I'm just going to say this. One of my favorite things about this series is continuing to watch people on the internet go, why wasn't I watching this? And it just continues through these episodes. So it's like the biggest thing that I can think of is it's continuing. You hear, this is the best MCU show. This is the best MCU show. So
completely agree.
What about you?
I would echo with you. Yeah, it's not the greatest episode of the bunch, but I'm here for the ride. It is one of those filler episodes, but it feels, but then there's a reason it's filler. We finally established Mallory Book. We finally got that Titania that we wanted, but not all the way. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm dying for more. And I think one of the trailers that we got, there's a sequence in one of the new trailers where She-Hulk is punching Titania and they look like they're at like some party that's going to happen sooner or later. So I'm dying to know when that happens. And so that's definitely an upcoming episode. because it didn't happen in this particular episode. So when are we going to get there? So I'm here for this ride, and this was establishing these other characters. Where they're going to go with like Derek and Titania that we saw at that very end. This relationship now that Mallory has with Jennifer. I loved that building of Nikki and Pug. You know, it's filler, but it's good filler. Like I'm here for it. And we introduced Luke Jacobson. So yeah, we have, like you said, in order to get to point C, we got to get to, you know, A to Z or whatever. We got to get those fillers in there. I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Been a long day, people. But I'm enjoying it. I'm here for it. Not the greatest episode, but a lot of cool moments. Avengers is a new term, right? Or Avengers?
Avengers with an I. Avengers.
I'm here for it. Yeah, just really cute moments. And Holden Holloway. Also, shout out to the senior person of the firm, Steve, played by Steve Coulter. I forgot to mention
him just not giving a fuck. That's one of the best. Sorry, Disney.
Yeah.
but
the only thing negative is like I just want more. I didn't have enough Titania, but I know I'm gonna get more, you know. So I can't say anything bad about it. I thought it was a great episode, definitely not the best, but a good filler episode. But you need this to establish the characters to then build to make the next episodes that are coming up even better. Exactly.
Like we're definitely not done with Luke. So do we want to talk about that final 15 seconds at all?
Let's talk about that final piece. Yeah. Luke, great addition and working on other characters. I'm curious how he is such an asset to everybody else in the greater MCU. So what an amazing role to have in a way, right?
Absolutely. Got job for life.
the wardrobe, the designer for the heroes, right? Like, yeah. So what a great role. But yes, what do we see, Heather? I don't want to spoil it. You spoiled it.
I mean,
but it wasn't really spoiled. We saw it in the trailer. People are already talking about it.
And I will say this, don't go on to IMDb like we did and see a very specific scene pop up. But one of the most exciting things that we saw, and one of the things that the creatives behind the series were like, we don't think we can keep this secret. Can you please let us share in the trailer? We have Daredevil coming, and he is in the red and yellow costume. I am so excited, and Charlie Cox is back. And that last, we knew it was coming, but when you see, and of course he's also already been in the MCU. But the fact that you got that just 2.5 seconds of that helmet,
money. So my question to you is, Heather, they had like a little bit of a relationship, and then in the trailer there was like a scene where I could kind of go for that. Are we gonna have them becoming an item? Maybe. What do you think? I don't know.
You know,
do you want it? Do you want them to be an item, or do you want to see her get with somebody else?
I love the Daredevil, She-Hulk, the Matt Murdock versus Jen Walters dynamic. Them being frenemies is one of their best aspects. They're more friends than enemies, but it's, you know, them. When I say that it's more in the courtroom, them being able to go head to head in a very punny and relaxed and silly environment is going to be exciting. I do not necessarily want them together. I'm not saying don't. You never know. The two of them might be really great on screen. When I'm talking about the actors, of course, but I would just like to see them literally go up against evil and just beat the shit out of everyone. I am so excited to see that.
Yeah. I could go either way. I haven't seen enough, as everybody else is so eager about it. I didn't see enough of this Daredevil. Again, with the Netflix stuff, I gave a little bit to like the first seasons of some of them, but I really didn't stay all the way in, which I need to do. I need to go back. So I don't have this affinity for Charlie Cox. I'm loving that my universe is coming together, though. I want Daredevil to be interacting with She-Hulk. I want all these characters from Hell's Kitchen, if you will, these grittier, realistic, you know, Marvel side of the universe getting together, and it makes perfect sense to have Daredevil and She-Hulk interact. They're lawyers, y'all. They're the lawyers of the MCU.
Lawyers.
They have to interact. I'm super excited about that.
One of the great things about, and this is something that I accidentally just completely forgot when you asked me about Mallory's character at the beginning. Mallory is actually a very, very strong contender in the courtroom game with Matt Murdock. So watching them go head to head in the courtroom is going to be exciting. And to go off what you said, Kuya P, like these characters are, you know, he might be from Hell's Kitchen, he might be from the grittier side of it, but guess what? To all of you assholes out there who are like, I don't want a punny Daredevil, honeys, that's exactly what he is in the comic books. It's when you have to live a life that makes others, that you have to force yourself to be make others more comfortable. That's what many tend to do, and that's what Matt Murdock does. So I am very excited to see this opposing side of just this silly version, not necessarily silly, because I just don't think Charlie Cox will do it, but I'm really excited to see this other version of Daredevil.
Remember, y'all, #lawyer show. That's it. She said it, episode 1. It's a lawyer show.
A lawyer show. It's a procedural. Get over it.
So should be expecting that. But no, another great episode. I'm so geeked. Yeah, I can't wait for more. I need more seasons of this. It's the best show so far right now. So,
absolutely agree.
All right, that's our feelings on episode 5. Yes, 5. Un, deux, trois, quatre, cinq. French, y'all.
We're talking in 4 different languages here, friends.
I took French for a couple of years, 3 years, but yeah. Anyway.
You know.
Heather, how can the people reach out to you to talk about episode 5?
Please don't do it in French. I took Latin in high school, so if you want to reach out to me about She-Hulk or anything else, please you can contact me on Twitter at NerdIsAHeather or on Instagram and TikTok at HeatherIsANerd.
And for me, it's the Legend Kuya P on Twitter, TikTok, and IG. Of course, Show Pal Show, AAPI Toy Heroes, The Crush Brothers, and more at the NRW and at Release Wednesday, where nerds rule the world. Bye, y'all.